I invite you to come as you are. I sit here with a small lamp on the table. The light is warm and soft. It touches the edge of the pages. The room breathes slowly. The world outside begins to hush. I ask you to join me with an open heart. I do not ask for pretense. I do not ask for perfect faith or tidy answers. Come with tired feet. Come with hands that have held worry all day. Come with questions that do not sleep. Come with the small, aching corners of your soul. Bring them here without polishing. Bring them here without fear. This space is for what is real. I speak gently. The pace is slow. Each sentence is simple. Each breath is quiet. I let my voice rest on the same soft rhythm that guides sleep. Breathe with me, if you like. Breathe in, long and steady. Breathe out, long and even. Let the breath steady the body. Let it ease the mind. We are not here to solve everything tonight. We are not here to debate or to win an argument. We are here to find a little peace. We are here to remember that mercy is nearer than the nearest thought. We are here to let hope sit beside us, small and patient. I place no burden of perfect understanding on anyone, only a readiness to receive calm. I open the Bible slowly. Its pages feel familiar under my fingers. The words within are like a quiet lamp that stays lit at night. I do not rush them. I let each line breathe. I let each promise rest in the silence between sentences. I will read to you before sleep. I will read in a voice that seeks to soothe, not to persuade. This is an invitation to the heart. It is an invitation to honesty. It is an invitation to rest. You encourage a soft honesty. Tell yourself the truth about tonight. Tell yourself what you are afraid of. Tell yourself what you long for. Acknowledge the small failures. Acknowledge the quiet victories. Hold them both in your hands. Place them gently before the one who listens. You might carry anger tonight. You might carry grief that feels too heavy to name. You might carry a small, stubborn hope that refuses to be snuffed out. All of this is welcome. Nothing here is too small to be noticed. Nothing here is too large to be held. I speak these things not as counsel to fix, but as a welcome to rest when the world demands performance. This hour asks only for presence. Presence does not need perfect words. Presence simply sits. Presence lets itself be still. When you feel like you have to be brave, remember that courage often looks like letting go. Letting go is a gentle work. It does not mean despair. It means trusting the night to do what it does best, to heal, to quiet, to gather strength for the morning. I ask you to let something else in as well. Let the picture of mercy come to mind. Picture a lamp in a storm. Picture a hand that does not withdraw when you reach for it. Picture resting in a harbor after a long voyage. These are images, not heavy doctrine. They are comforts. They are small truths we can hold when words fail. They are meant to steady the heart. You may wonder if you are enough to be heard. You may worry that your mess is too messy. These thoughts are familiar to many of us. I remind you quietly, tenderness meets the weary. Mercy meets the stumbling. Hope meets the lukewarm and the fiery alike. None of these conditions disqualify you from being seen. I do not present a polished sermon. I read the Bible with a plain voice. I let the sentences sit between us. I let the meaning come as it will. Some passages will glow like a gentle lamp. Some passages will be like a hand on the shoulder. Some will be a quiet command to breathe and rest. No passage tonight will be used as a club or a puzzle. They will be used as a balm. If your mind wanders as I read, it is all right. Let it wander and return without judgment. There is grace for a wandering mind. There is patience for a restless heart. Sometimes the most healing thing is to let the words wash over you without trying to hold on to every line. Let them settle. Let them touch the places that need touching. I will invite simple practices as I read. When a sentence asks for peace, take a slow breath. When a passage speaks of rest, let your shoulders drop. When mercy is mentioned, let your hands unclench. These small responses help the body accept the truth the mind hears. Sleep often comes when the body believes it is safe. We will move slowly together. I will not rush through the pages. I will not fill the space with frantic energy. I will place each phrase like a stepping stone across a quiet stream. You may follow each step, or you may sit on the bank and watch the water. Either way, the stream will flow and the stones will be there. Simplicity is my companion tonight. Language will be gentle and clear. Short sentences will carry the rhythm. I aim for the kind of speech you can listen to with half-closed eyes. I aim to lower the volume of worry. I aim to keep the heart steady. You may carry questions that do not have tidy answers. You may carry memories that sound like complaint or praise. Both are allowed in this hour. I will not offer tidy answers. I will offer the reading and the presence of words that have carried others through. I will offer the quiet company of the one who listens when voices taper off. This hour is not an interrogation. It is a sanctuary. It is a gentle room inside the noise. If you feel unworthy, let the very word mercy ease that thought. If you feel small, let hope make room. If you feel alone, let the quiet of these words be company. The language here is simple, because the need is simple rest, comfort, and a sense of being held. I move my hand to mark a page. The paper makes a soft sound. The lamp throws a small circle of light. Outside, sounds are dim. Somewhere far away, a car moves along a distant street. Here the world is still enough to hear a single breath. Here the heart can slow. I am the one who reads the Bible to you before sleep. I speak into the night with the intent to soothe. I do not read to convert. I read to give rest. I read to remind. The words are older than our troubles. They have a way of becoming small and steady in the dark. They fit like a blanket. As I read, allow images to come. Picture a quiet field. Picture a steady stream. Picture a lamp kept burning through the night. Picture hands yours. Minne, the unseen resting. Picture the sense of shelter that comes from being cared for. These quiet images are not demands. They are invitations to relax into a story larger than the day's turmoil. Let the body notice the release. Shoulders drop. Jaw unclenches. Fingers curl without tension. The breath finds a slower pace. There is a small relaxation in the belly. Allow the eyelids to fall if they want. If they do not, that is all right too. Some rest is not sleep. Some rest is simply stillness. I will avoid heavy theology tonight. I will not drag abstract debates into this quiet. Instead, I will let the gentle themes of mercy, presence, and hope lead the reading. These themes are safe anchors. They are easy to hold when the mind starts to drift into worry. If guilt visits, welcome it with grace. If fear knocks, let it be answered with a gentle truth. If the night feels too long, remember that morning will come. Night is a patient tutor. It teaches us to wait. It trains us to breathe. We are not alone in our vulnerability. Many nights carry similar burdens. There is a shared human ache that threads through these hours. We do not have to be the only ones awake with it. The company of a quiet voice and the pages of the Bible makes a kind of fellowship. It is a small, steady fellowship that asks nothing extravagant and offers a calm presence. If you are tempted to fix the world tonight, let that impulse rest until morning. There is a season for action. There is also a season for healing. Tonight we practice the latter. Let the hands that usually work lay down. Let the mind that usually plans pause. Let the heart that usually races be soothed. I will read slowly. I will pause. I will let the words hang. Sometimes the silence will hold the most. In that silence, you may find something gentle and true. You may feel a small reassurance. You may feel a softening. You may feel nothing at all. All of these are acceptable. Before we begin the reading, make a small adjustment. Turn off bright lights if you can. Make the room comfortable. Tuck under a blanket if that helps. Position your head so the neck can relax. Allow the body to find its softest posture. I stay nearby with the lamp and the book. My voice will be a low, steady guide. We will take one final collective breath. Now, breathe in slowly, as if drawing in calm. Hold for a brief beat. Breathe out, letting whatever tension falls away. In this out-breath, imagine placing worries on a table and leaving them there for the night. They can wait. You can rest. When you are ready, keep your eyes open or close them. Both are fine. I will begin to read. The first words will be simple. The cadence will be unhurried. The aim is not to produce insight, but to offer rest. Let the words land where they need to. Let silence fill what remains. This is an invitation kept intentionally gentle. It holds no pressure. It gives no tasks. It simply opens a door into calm. Step through when you are ready. I will meet you on the other side of that threshold with the first lines of the reading. When the next part begins, the voice stays low. The lamp stays steady. The pages turn with care. The night continues, its quiet work. We move forward together, slow and soft, into the rest that waits. I lift the lamp a fraction. The light warms the page. The Bible opens like a quiet door. He set me voice low. The room leans toward the sound. The word sits between us. It is steady. It is simple. It is older than tonight. It does not hurry. The letters line up like small markers on a path. Each mark offers a place to rest. I begin by naming the presence. The pages feel like a soft hand. The sentences feel like a harbor wall. When waves come, they break less violently against a place that holds. This book does not erase the waves. It shows a place to stand when the sea presses close. Tonight I speak from a phrase that has guided many evenings. It speaks of refuge and help. It is a short, strong thought that lands like a small stone in a pond. The ripple is gentle. The sense of steadiness slowly grows. I read slowly. I do not read to instruct or to argue. I read to witness the quiet truth. It says that when trouble arrives, a shelter is near. When strength thins, a steady hand waits. The language is simple. The promise is simple. The heart can rest in something plain. As I speak, breathe with me. Breathe in for a count that feels natural. Hold for a moment. Release. Long and even. Let the chest soften. Let the shoulders fall. Each breath is a small agreement with calm. Picture a stone house by an open field. The door is solid. The roof is sure. Inside, the air is still and safe. The storms sound different from there. They crash far off and lose their shape. This image is not a lecture. It is a companion for the tired mind. I let the ideas sit. Shelter is not a distant promise. It is near. Now, it does not arrive only in grand rescue. It comes quietly, as company. It arrives as presence beside the breath. Even if the storm continues, there is somewhere to stand. There is a rhythm in that thought. Trouble may press in. Strength may falter. Yet shelter and help are not absent. Something steady meets the need. The presence itself becomes the refuge. It is not an escape from grief. It is a place that holds while grief moves through. I watch the lamp. The flame keeps steady. The page casts a small shadow. The sound of the outside night sleeps deeper. The voice in the room is calm. The words unfold slowly. Mercy touches this promise. It is gentle and patient. Mercy does not shame the weary. It wraps the trembling with a warm, unassuming care. In the quiet of the hour, mercy can be felt as a soft weight on the shoulders. It does not demand performance. It simply stays. I guide a small practice now. Rest the hands on the knees. Let them lie there without work. Relax the jaw. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Feel the weight of the head on the pillow. If the head finds a pillow, allow the breath to be steady and unforced. These tiny changes make the body listen to the words. There are nights when fear speaks loudly. There are nights when shame insists on being the loudest voice in the room. When that happens, come back to the image of a safe place. Come back to the sense of a near presence that does not begin its care by asking for worthiness. It cares first. It cares now. I think of strength as something that can be shared. Strength is not only a solitary resource. It can be a presence that holds when individual power will not reach. This presence stands beside the hands that are shaking. It gives steadiness to weak knees. It supplies what is missing without taking away the dignity of the one who needs it. The Bible's words here are not a prescription for easy life. They are a reminder that trouble is met by accompaniment. That accompaniment is calm. That accompaniment is near. That is enough for now. If thoughts come that argue, let them be noticed and set gently aside. The mind often thinks it must fix everything before sleep. Let that urge rest. Tonight, practice being held rather than solving. Let the hands stop the frantic list-making. Let the mind trust a small, quiet. Around the world, people have used these phrases to steady the night. They do not all agree on every detail. They agree on this. A shelter exists when the heart feels exposed. That agreement is not trivial. It is a simple instrument to quiet the pulse. I pause here. The silence is part of the reading. It lets the phrase settle into the bones. In the quiet, a small warmth grows. It is nothing loud. It is the feeling of a room where the lamp is safe and the door is shut against the wind. If this practice helps over time, there are gentle ways to stay connected, returning to this space, leaving a small note about how the night went, or sharing a restful moment with someone who might need it, are simple acts. They are not obligations. They are small bridges. They help the calm spread. They create a community that travels slowly in the night. When sharing is offered, it does not come with a demand. A soft recommendation might be to let others know this place exists. So the weary find one more harbor. The act of passing along rest can itself be restful. It is a small kindness that seeds more quiet. Tonight, the main thing is the experience of refuge. The idea settles like a blanket. It covers the knees of worry and warms the neck of fear. It does not banish the thought of trouble. It changes how the trouble is held. I move of my own accord into a short reflection. Refuge can be found in many small ways. A friend's call that arrives at midnight. A remembered kindness. A breath that lengthens. These are practical shelters. They are real and available. There is also a shelter that is not dependent on circumstance. It is not a tidy fix to a bad day. It is a presence that does not shift with weather. It is reliable. It proves its steadiness not by removing storms, but by accompanying through them. As I read, I imagine an old lighthouse on a rocky shore. The sea is never always calm. The light keeps turning. Ships must least. The lighthouse does not calm the ocean. It keeps giving gentle direction and a safe place to approach. The image is quiet. It is not dramatic. Let this image inhabit a small corner of the mind. Let it be an easy picture to return to when breath gets short. Return to the lamp on the page and the steady notion of a present help. If worry arrives in the middle of the night, try a gentle question that is not demanding. What is one small thing that can be set aside until morning? Pinpoint one thread. Leave the rest on the table in the dark. The habit of postponing the heavy fixing until the day can become a small mercy. For now, surrender the need to understand everything. Sleep does not require answers. It requires a sense of safety and acceptance. The words on the page aim to provide that sense. They do not prove a doctrine. They offer a quiet experience of being less alone. I lean forward and let the next sentence breathe. Shelter and strength arrive as a compound gift. The first is rest. The second is the ability to stand again, Rest is not weakness. It is the first piece of recovery. Strength grows from surrender, not from relentless will. While reading, notice small bodily shifts. The body that tightens at worry will feel a subtle loosening when given permission to rest. Allow that loosening. Let the muscles unwind as if someone has taken a burden from the shoulders. Sometimes the simplest act is the most radical. Closing the eyes and admitting weariness to the quiet room counts for more than a list of accomplishments. It is an honest act that invites mercy to meet the honest place. I bring the thought back to community. There is comfort in knowing others rest under the same promise. This shared habit does not create pressure. It creates a path. People gather quietly around the same lamp of truth. That gathering is small and steady. It helps the day seem less alone when morning arrives. If the heart is stubborn and resists rest, do not battle it. Lay down next to the resistance and breathe. The resistance is not always the enemy. It is sometimes the place where hope begins to stir. Be patient with it. Allow it to be as it is. The quiet presence does not demand immediate change. In the next few moments, the voice will soften further. The reading will slow until it becomes almost a hum. The aim is gentle, anchoring. The lamp will remain. The pages will stay open. The sense of near refuge will sustain the tender places of the heart. I pause now in a deliberate silence. Let that silence be like a held breath. Let it be the space where the words take root. Imagine the shelter being a real room. Imagine its light hitting the bed. Imagine hands that do not let go. When the pause ends, a short blessing will follow. The blessing is not loud. It is a quiet wish for safety in the night. It asks nothing from the listener. It only offers calm. Before the closing, I invite a slow roll of the shoulders. Roll them back and let the chest open a fraction. See how the breath lengthens. Notice the small relief in the neck. I will read again. Even more softly now. The sentences come at a reduced pace. They have room. They have time to settle into the quiet. The lamp throws its small circle of light. The shadow at the edge of the page eases into darkness. I am the one who reads to you before sleep. My voice stays steady. My aim is rest. The Bible's words are a neighbor in the dark. The presence they describe is near. The promise of refuge is the evening's small gift. We will carry this gentle idea into the rest of the night. The pages will remain open in the mind like a porch light you can return to. Sleep will find its way in its own time. If it does not, the shelter still holds. When the next part begins, we will let another thought unfold. Until then, let the sense of refuge be a quiet companion. Let it touch the places that are most tired. Let it keep watch while the rest of the world dreams. I close this section with a soft beat of silence. The lamp breathes. The room listens. The promise rests where it can be found. I lift the Bible and pause. The lamp keeps a steady circle of light. The room breathes with the same slow pace as before. I move to the next thought. It is gentle and small. It asks of the heart a soft thing forgiveness. I read the lines slowly. Be kind and tender toward one another. Forgive as God forgave you in Christ. Let the sentence rest between us. Let it sit like a warm cloth placed over a bruise. There is no hurry to do it perfectly. There is no requirement to explain it all tonight. The phrase is an offering for the tired mind. Forgiveness is not a loud command. It is a quiet invitation to let go. It asks for less energy than holding a complaint night after night. Let the idea unfold like a slow tide. It takes away some sharpness by simply changing where the weight is carried. Instead of clutching the hurt, the hand opens. A little air returns to the chest. I speak plain about how this looks in practice. First, notice the small knot of grievance inside. Name it gently in your mind. It may be one small scene. It may be a repeated habit of pain. Let it have a name. Naming gives distance. Distance makes release possible. Now imagine a shallow stream. Pick up a small stone that represents the grievance. Hold it for a moment. Feel how the fingers tighten. Feel the weight. Then set the stone on the water and watch it go. No effort to fix the shape of the river. No need to make the water do anything. The stone sinks and moves away. The hand is lighter. The breath lengthens. Forgiveness does not pretend the harm was nothing. It does not erase boundaries or remove the need for care. It is a deliberate choice to stop letting the injury live in the place inside that needs rest. It is a gift to the self as much as to the other. In the quiet of the night, that single decision can be a small miracle of mercy. I remind gently, forgiveness can be slow. It can be a small, repeatable act. Sometimes it is only a practice of letting one memory fall more softly than the last. There is no timeline. The night does not demand completion. It only suggests a start. A single breath can be the beginning. Try a small exercise now. Find a posture that eases the shoulders. Place the hands in the lap. Breathe in slowly. As the lungs fill, imagine gathering the day's heavy thoughts into one small bundle. Hold it there for a beat. On the exhale, offer that bundle away. Picture the offer being received by a safe presence. The chest relaxes by a fraction. The jaw softens. That movement is both literal and symbolic. It trains the body to trust release. There are many forms of unforgiveness. Some are loud and obvious. Some either in quiet resentments. Both make sleep ragged. Both steal the tenderness that the night wants to give back. Forgiveness is not about erasing memory. It is about refusing to let memory become a prison. It restores a small freedom and lets the heart lean back into rest. When the memory is sharp, try a gentler image. Picture a coat draped over a chair. The coat is heavy with rain and dust. It smells of business and battle. For a moment, simply do not pick it up. Leave it on the chair. Tell the mind, without force, that the coat can wait until morning. Let the body keep the bed warm. The small act of not retrieving the coat counts as mercy. Know this also: forgiving does not always mean reconciliation tonight. Sometimes a safe distance is needed. Forgiveness can happen without contact. It can be an inner handing over. The hand that offers forgiveness can remain soft. Even if the door stays closed, the heart can be freed while the outer steps are careful and wise. I ask for a quiet truth to sit with. Holding a grudge is an effort. It is a nightly occupation that offers little rest. Letting go is not weakness. It is an act of courage that clears space for sleep. The brave thing tonight may simply be to let one small grievance dissolve like sugar in water. It changes the taste of the whole night. Forgiveness also reaches inward. Many carry a private ledger of personal failings. The mind rehearses a list of what was not done or what was said too sharply. The same generous work applies inwardly. Speak a short phrase to yourself. I am held, even in my mistakes. Let that line be a soft cushion. Do not begin a harsh inventory now. Offer the self the same kindness asked for others. If anger resists, do not force a sudden change. Sit beside the feeling as if it were a child who needs to be heard. Hear the story. Give it a brief name. Then place it in a small box and hand the box to the quiet presence. The process can take many nights. The act of handing over becomes a habit that slowly loosens the grip of the wound. I keep my voice low and steady. The candlelight moves but does not rage. The room stays a small harbor. The word that invites forgiveness does not demand dramatic evidence. It asks for soft practice. A nightly offering of small grievances becomes a path that leads to gentler mornings. Think of forgiveness as unburdening, not as acquittal. Unburdening makes room for breath. It keeps the heart from hardening around a single memory. The hand that forgives learns to hold again. It is a practical restoration. The muscles around the chest relax. The sleep that follows is less tangled. I offer another simple exercise. Choose one small image of mercy. It could be a light at a window. It could be a neighbor bringing tea. It could be the sound of rain. Hold that image when a memory returns. Let it be a counterweight. Mentally say, for one moment, mercy is nearer than the thought. Repeat it softly. The mind begins to learn new routes. There are nights when forgiveness seems impossible. In such hours, the small step of willingness is enough. Willingness to try. Willingness to name. Willingness to place the heavy thought on the table and close the lid for the night. That small willingness shifts the posture of the heart. It prepares the soul for gentler work in the morning. Another useful image is a window with a screen. Imagine the harmful words and scenes as leaves that hit the screen. They rustle and remain outside, while the room stays quiet inside. The screen does not deny the wind. It simply keeps the room restful. This picture is a practical reminder that protection and forgiveness can coexist. Forgiveness also reaches into relationships that are still whole. It is a maintenance of tenderness, small apologies, short admissions of fault. Little acts of repair. They are not grand gestures. They are nighttime oils that keep the joints of connection moving. They are restful work, not anxious work. They create warmth that carries into sleep. When forgiving another feels like erasing justice, remember that mercy and justice are not always opposed. A small act of letting go does not mean condoning harm. It means refusing to let harm anchor the heart. Rest does not require erasing accountability. It requires not becoming permanently lodged in the wound. Agide a quiet act now. Picture putting the day's hurts on a low table. Watch the hands place, each one there. Do not try to tidy them. Do not attempt to solve them. Simply let them sit. For tonight, leave them. Close your eyes and imagine a lamp turned on in the room. The lamp is steady. The hurts remain in the room, but they are under a kind light that makes them less sharp. In the slow work of forgiveness, community helps. The knowledge that others practice the same small offers of mercy can be soothing. Knowing that the habit is shared does not pressure. It comforts. It makes the path feel wider. If the heart wants company, find a quiet friend, a gentle ear, or a trusted word to hold until the next morning. Support is restful. I keep the tone soft and the pace slow. Heavy reasoning has no place here. Tonight is about small acts that invite rest. Forgiveness is a practical discipline of letting go. It is a tender daily choice rather than an instant overhaul. Repeating small releases will, over time, loosen the knots that keep sleep distant. Before this section draws to a close, place one final image in mind. Imagine a basket at the foot of the bed. Into that basket, put one grievance you are ready to release tonight. Lay it gently. Close the lid. Tell the mind it can sleep. This small ritual is not magical. It is a bodily practice that trains the nervous system to accept rest. As the voice lowers further, breathe in a compassionate rhythm. Inhale the possibility of mercy. Exhale whatever clings too tightly. The breath becomes the mechanism of letting go. The body notices the change. Muscles soften. Heart rate eases. I do not ask for a total transformation before sleep. A single small act of forgiveness is sufficient to begin. The habit will grow in time. The nights will feel less loaded. The lamp will keep its steady light. The body will learn to trust that release can be safe. Now I close this section with a deliberate pause. Let the silence hold the seed of forgiveness. Let it rest in the chest like a small ember. It does not need to flare. It simply needs to exist. Tomorrow can bring more tending. Tonight, the ember keeps the room warm enough for sleep. I place the book down for a moment. The light is steady. The room is quiet. A brief blessing hangs in the air. May mercy meet the tired. May rest come without demand. Sleep when it comes. If it does not, the offer of forgiveness still stands. The heart is not left alone with its burdens. When the next part begins, the reading will move to another gentle truth. For now, rest with the small work of letting go. Let it soften the night. Let it make a space for peace. The lamp rests where it always rests. The page glows. I hold the Bible open and breathe with you. Tonight I turn to a thought that eases the ache of not being enough. The phrase sits close. Grace is enough. I read it slowly. My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. The words land like a soft answer to a small, persistent question. What if my weakness can be room for help? I do not unpack scripture like a lecture. I let the line sit. I let it touch the worn places first. This is not abstract. It is practical. It meets the tired body and the anxious mind. It asks nothing of speed. It offers presence. Grace feels like a gentle hand placed on a shoulder. It is not an applause for achievement. It is an allowance for being human. It says, you may be weak and still be loved. It says, the cracks are not the end of the story. They are the place light finds in. I tell a story now. A careful one. It is true and small. It is a story about a family and a long, narrow distance between two people. Years ago, a voice in my house grew quieter. A sister and I stopped talking often. The reasons were many. Little hurts stacked into a wall. Pride added mortar. Time did not flatten the bricks. There was no dramatic quarrel. There was only enough silence to become habit. Each of us carried the silence like a winter coat. The coat fit, but it made movements stiff. One evening, I find myself at the kitchen table late. The house is quiet. A single lamp near the sink throws a pool of light. I am tired in a way that bone-deep tired can be. The ledger of daily duties sits open on the counter. Then something softer moves through the head, a memory of laughter from years before, a small apology that never got said. The memory presses gentle, like a hand asking to be noticed. I do not call at once. I do not script an apology. I put down the pen. I breathe in. Then out. I write a brief note on a scrap of paper. The wording is simple. I miss you. There is no demand. There is no attempt to fix everything. The note is an offering of small honesty. When the note arrives, the response is slow. It is not immediate reconciliation. It is a small reply, a line that begins with, I am tired too. We exchange short, honest phrases at first. They are not full of neat answers. They are enough to open a window. The first visit is tentative. We sit in a room with mismatched chairs. The air feels awkward. Neither of us carries a script. We speak in pauses and simple sentences. The conversation hinges less on solving the old hurts than on telling what was true. I admit where I hardened. She admits where she retreated. There is no dramatic apology that erases the past. There is a giving over of small truths held too long. What changes is the tone. The anger that once tightened our words loosens. The defensive posture eases. We find places of shared memory that still glow. Grace does not erase the sting. It makes room for repair by removing the need to be perfect in the attempt. Mon espace. There are small rituals that rebuild the bridge. A shared cup of tea. A call that lasts 2 sentences beyond formality. A practice of listening without immediate reply. The work is not heroic. It is gentle and repeated. It looks like arriving with a plain bread and staying long enough to share it. It looks like choosing to be present when there is no dramatic proof that the other will change. That choosing becomes a practice of grace. The real turning point does not arrive as a single moment. It shows up as a steady pattern admission. Quiet acceptance. An offer not to hold the ledger open for one more night. The wounds remain. The relationship reflects them. Yet the presence of mercy changes the place where wounds sit. They are no longer the central furniture of the room. They become pieces you can step around when you walk. This story is mine. But the pattern is not unique. Grace often begins in small, amber motions. It is the courage to admit weakness, It is the willingness to be known as less than perfect. It is the decision to let another be weak as well. When that decision is offered, something restores. The edges soften. The heart finds new shape. Grace tends to the places where pride and fear have laid down roots. It does not force reconciliation. It invites it by removing the need to be large or small. Only, it asks for authenticity. In the quiet of those months, what matters most is not a tidy outcome. It is the repeated return to honesty and presence. Listen with me to a few small practices that help grace settle into the body. First, name one place where you feel not enough. Say it softly in your mind. Keep it short. Hold it like a small object. Then breathe. As you exhale, place that object gently on a table. Do not try to fix it now. Let it be. This is a training of the hands. It teaches the system to set things down rather than clutch them all night. Second, when weakness arrives, welcome it as information rather than shame. Weakness often signals where help would be most honest. Ask a gentle question. What small help would be kind tonight? Imagine a friend bringing you a cup of warm tea. Imagine a lamp turned on beside the bed. Allow that image to fill a small part of the chest. Third, practice saying to yourself, Inquiet. 2 words, grace enough. Repeat them once or twice. Let them be like a door that opens for a breath. Do not turn them into an argument. Let the phrase be an invitation to rest. Grace also has a communal life. It shows up when someone says I was wrong, and another listens. It lives in shared mercy. A family that practices small acts of repair trains its muscles to receive help. The more such acts occur, the easier it becomes to set down the heavy ledger at night. The practice does not remove the need for healthy boundaries. Boundaries can rest on a foundation of grace without contradicting it. I will give a small image to hold. Picture a blanket large enough to sit under together. The blanket is worn at the edges. It bears stains from shared meals and long talks. It does not pretend to be new. It holds warmth because it has been used. Grace is like that blanket. It receives stains without measuring them. It warms by being present. There will be nights when the mind tells you that weakness proves a lack of worth. Those nights speak loudly. They demand an answer. The answer is simple, and not flashy grace meets the doubt. It does not explain everything. It touches the doubt and takes a small portion of its bite away. Over time, the bite softens. Practical mercy often looks like small continuations. Keep showing up where you can. Send a note. Make a small call. Sit where conversation is thin, and do not demand a storm of change. Presence, repeated, becomes a form of restoration. Remember also that grace often asks for patience. The movement from estrangement to trust is rarely abrupt. It is patient work. It is not dramatic. It often feels slow. That slowness is not failure. It is the pace at which soft things mend. I am careful to say that receiving grace is as important as offering it. The hands that give must also accept. If there is a weary mind that thinks, I must earn this, try placing that thought on a table beside the lamp. Let the thought rest there. Give yourself permission to be held without an exhaustive accounting. Tonight, in the dark room, with this small lamp, let the idea of sufficiency do its quiet work. Grace is not a reward for strength. It is the provision in the moments of frailty. It is the presence that helps the weary stand again. Let that be enough for now. I end with an image and a short invitation. Picture a slow rainfall on a dry field. Each drop is small on its own. Together they make the soil soft. Roots find their place again. That is how grace behaves. It falls in small measures. It changes the ground one night at a time. Take a breath with me now. Inhale slowly. Imagine the warm lamp, the blanket, the shared tea, the soft apology that began a new path. Exhale. Let the body accept the thought that sufficiency can be gentle. If a name comes to mind, someone to forgive or someone to accept, hold that name gently. No action is required tonight, except the willingness to let grace do its patient work. Write it down if you like, or tuck it into the basket at the foot of the bed and close the lid for the night. The act of setting a single thing down trains the system to trust rest. I am the one who reads the Bible to you before sleep. I will stay with this thought for a while. The lamp stays. The Bible rests in my hands. My voice lowers to a hush. My wish for you is this, that grace finds the places you think too broken to mend, that it meets your weakness and makes a room for help. Rest now, and let grace do its soft work through the night. The lamp shifts a hair's breadth. The page opens easily under the fingertip. I rest my hand there and breathe with you. The room answers in a slow, even rhythm. Night eases toward sleep. Tonight, the verse sits near the top of the page. I do not lecture it. I let it sit like a quiet stone in the palm. The sentence says that a peace beyond our understanding comes. It promises that this peace will guard hearts and minds. I read it softly and let the words sink without rushing them. Peace here is not silence alone. It is not merely the absence of noise. It is a presence that holds. Imagine a slow wall that keeps a safe space in the center of your chest. Imagine a soft lantern kept at the edge of that wall, steady and small. That is closer to what the text means. It is an internal shelter that watches without being harsh. The guard of peace does not patrol with alarm. It stands with a calm attention. It notices the trouble and does not let it break through easily. Think of a watchman who has learned patience. He does not panic when wind rattles the eaves. He breathes and listens. He knows the rhythms of the night, and so he keeps the house at ease. This peace is not a push to forget. It tolerates memory and sorrow. It rearranges them so they do not take over. Grief can remain in the room, but it no longer sits on the chest like a heavy stone. The guard sets a small distance between the pain and the heart. Breathing becomes less jagged. Try a small practice. Place one hand on the chest, right above the heart. Lay the other hand on the belly. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Count gently to 4 if that helps. Hold for a heartbeat. Then let the breath out long and even. Feel the hand on the chest rise and fall. Let the warmth of the hand be a quiet reminder that peace is near. When fear comes tonight, Do not meet it with a louder voice. Meet it with the same slow breath. Give it a name: anxious thought, tightness, worry, and then picture a gate, closing softly between it and the center of your being. The gate is not final. It is not rigid. It simply buys space so the heart can rest. There are nights when the mind wants to prove that peace cannot be trusted. The mind likes to produce reasons. It lists failures. It steps through worst-case scenarios. When that happens, return to the body. Return to the hand on the chest and the simple rhythm of breath. The body listens to the breath more quickly than it listens to argument. Let the breath be the first response. Peace, as the verse suggests, is a guarding. Guardians do not promise that storms will stop. They promise a steadiness of companioning through storms. The difference is important. The night may still be long. The wind may still be loud. The guard keeps the room where you rest, quiet enough for sleep, to find you in its own time. I do not insist on theological puzzles here. The aim is practical. The thought is simple. You are not left alone in the turbulence of your feelings. Something steadier meets the turbulence. That steadiness can be felt. It can be practiced. It can be trusted. Little by little, a helpful picture is a small cove protected by rocks. Waves roll in, but they are gentled by the rock. The water in the cove moves. Yes, but it does not smash the shore. That image works for the heart. Trouble still moves. The interior life is still active, but the motion is less destructive. It becomes something the heart can sit with. The verse links peace and guarding with mind and heart. That is twofold. The heart carries feeling. The mind runs the stories. The peace here is wide enough to touch both. It calms the feeling, and it slows the story. When the story repeats, the guard does not silence it with force. It simply watches the repetition and makes room for gentler thinking. In moments of weakness, a special grace arrives. Weakness often feels like a deficit. It speaks in sterile phrases: you should have been stronger. You failed. You are less. The verse and the life behind it give another language. Weakness becomes an opening for help. Grace meets lack with provision. Strength, in that sense, grows in the presence of help. Consider a lamp with a dimmer switch. You can turn the light down and still see. The dimmer does not shame the lamp for giving less light. It simply adjusts to the needs of the room. Grace is like that. It lights the place where strength seems dim and shows that the dimness is not defeat. It is a part of being human. I remember a night when my own hands felt empty of answers. The schedule had packed its weight onto the shoulders. A small ache settled behind the sternum. I sat by the window and listened to rain. At first, the mind listed failures. Then I placed my hand over my heart and breathed. The complaining fingers slowed. The complaint did not vanish. It became less loud. A small sense of peace gathered like condensation on the glass. It was not dramatic. It was quiet. It was enough to let sleep come later. That memory is not proof for anyone. It is only a small witness to how practice can make a difference. Routine actions, placing a hand on the heart, breathing slowly, picturing a guard train the nervous system to expect calm, or team. The system begins to believe the practice. The peace moves from being an idea to being a felt presence. Do not demand perfection tonight. Perfection is not the teacher here. Consistency is. A single breath can be the beginning. A single moment of allowing peace to stand guard counts. It is a tiny surrender that leads to gentleness. The body knows how to receive mercy when it is offered in small measures. Another exercise may be helpful. Imagine a warm curtain drawn across the room, not a heavy curtain, but one that filters noise and tempers light. Behind the curtain sits the heart. When fearful thoughts rush in, visualize drawing that curtain. The rush does not cease, but it loses its sharpness. The heart breathes more easily. The mind can rest enough to stop rehearsing the worst when weakness feels large and there is temptation to hide it. Remember that weakness can be the doorway to grace. The line between needing help and refusing it runs thin sometimes. If it feels possible, whisper a brief wish for help. It can be a single word offered inwardly. The whisper is not dramatic. It simply opens the hand. Community also holds a role in this guarding peace. A steady, quiet voice can shorten the distance to calm. A friend who listens without needing signs of immediate change offers a practical mercy. When human help is not available, imagine a kind voice near the ear that says in a gentle way, "You are not alone right now." The thought is an imagined hand that steadies. Notice small signs of guarding in the body. A slowing of the pulse by a few beats, a release across the shoulders, a softening of the jaw. These are subtle, but they announce change. If an internal movement is noticed, linger there for a moment. Let the breath lengthen to match the new pace. The practice trains the system. Some nights, fear returns in waves. If one wave crashes through the curtain, do not be surprised or ashamed. Waves come and go. The guard does not fail because a wave appears. It simply waits for the next breath. Patience with the return of trouble is part of the practice. Ich nu karm matters. I suggest a short mental mantra to help steady the thoughts. Use it like a lullaby for the anxious mind. The phrase can be simple. Peace guards the heart. Say it quietly to yourself, on an out breath. The rhythm anchors the thinking and begins to slow the mind's argument. The mantra is not theological armor. It is a practical tether. There is also a bodily ritual that works for many before sleep. Place a small object by the bedside, a smooth stone or a small token. Each time hands touch the token, let it remind the body of the guard. The token is not magical. It is a cue that trains the senses to move toward calm. Tonight, I invite one more practice before the section closes. Imagine peace flowing like a cool stream into the chest. The water is not loud. It is a thin pour, steady and soft. Let it find whatever is hot and tired. Let it cool those places. The flow does not demand immediate change. It simply refreshes. Breathe as the water moves. Weakness will come again. The lesson is not to avoid weakness. The lesson is to let weakness be the place where help can enter. That is the unusual strength of grace. It transforms need into a channel for support. It makes the heart a place where rest is permitted. As I lower my voice, take one last long breath with me. Inhale, slow and full. Hold briefly. Exhale and imagine the guard of peace settling gently around the chest. Feel the hands of time slow. The lamp keeps its steady glow. The page rests open. Sleep may arrive soon. If it does not, let this gentle guarding remain like a lamp you can return to. It does not demand production. It requires only presence. Leave the heart under its watch. When the body is ready, allow the eyelids to close. I will pause here. The silence that follows will hold the image of peace like a small lantern. When the next part comes, another gentle thought will unfold. For now, rest with this promise. A peace beyond explanation guards the tender places inside. It meets weakness with help and makes room for sleep. The lamp sits low. The Bible rests open. I hold the pages with care and let the next thought come gently. Tonight, I turn to a shepherd's voice. I do not read it like a lesson. I speak it like a neighbor who walks with you a short way down a quiet lane. The picture is simple. A guide who knows the land walks beside you. The guide knows where the gentle grass grows. The guide knows which stones hurt the foot. The guide knows where water runs quiet and where it rushes loud. This is the comfort the passage offers. It is not a policy. It is close. Practical care. I ask you to imagine a wide, soft field. The sun is low and kind. The grass is cool under bare feet. Each blade brushes the ankle like a small, careful hand. A path moves through the field. It is worn, but not harsh. The path is the kind that invites slow steps. Walk there with me in your mind. We move slowly. Each step is small. The ground is even. A breeze pass. It feels like a hand smoothing a sleeve. The guide walks with a steady pace. There is no hurry. The pace is one that matches tired feet. If your body presses hard against the day, let it match the new slow pace. Let the muscles ease a bit with each step. Alongside us, water waits. Not a wild river, not a noisy fall. A long, calm pool rests like a mirror. The surface holds the sky. The water breathes in gentle ripples when the wind passes. It receives light without fighting it. Imagine placing your hand near the edge. The water is cool. It takes the heat from the palm and gives back a shade of calm. The guide leads toward that water. The invitation is quiet. You do not have to explain why you go. You do not have to prove a track record of being worthy of rest. The path simply bends in the right direction. The rest that waits is reasonable and modest. It asks only for presence. Restoration is what comes here. The word might sound large. In practice, it looks like small repairs. A tight jaw loosens. A sigh comes that is not forced. A thought that has circled all afternoon unthreads a little. The shepherd's presence meets the small breaks and does not make them into a trial. It only tends them. Think of the places inside that feel parched. The guide brings water not only to cool the face, but to soften the soil beneath the roots. The water does not demand the wounds disappear. It moistens the places that must bend again. Let the mind accept that easing is real work. Quietness can restore the capacity to hope without dramatics. I suggest a simple breath exercise while you picture the field. Breathe in as you imagine stepping 1 foot forward. Count 1, 2. Hold for a gentle beat. Breathe out as the next foot moves. Count 1, 2, 3. Let the rhythm match the imagined pace. Keep this slow. Keep it patient. The breath maps the walking. As you breathe, notice the chest. Let it soften. Put a hand lightly on the sternum if that feels safe. Feel how the hand trembles a bit from the day. Tell it, without words, that it can relax. The shepherd's direction is not criticism. It is care. The tension does not have to be evidence of failure. It can be an honest sign that rest is needed. The guide's voice in this scene is not loud. It is gentle. The kind that points the foot without shoving it. Guidance looks like a hand on the back that steers toward the water, but does not force the pace. If resistance rises, that is okay. Walk beside the resistance for a moment. Name it, quietly, tiredness, fear, refusal. Let the guide accept the name and continue to walk anyway. Restoration includes memory work, but slow and patient. Some memories stick like burrs. The shepherd helps pick them out one by one. No rush. Each burr removed makes movement easier. Over time, the field feels more open. The heart learns how to carry tenderness again without being knocked about by every gust. The scene holds a further image, a small seat beneath a tree. It is simple wood. It has no ornament. The tree's shade is cool. The guide invites you to sit. You sit. There is no need to justify the pause. The pause is its own right. In that seat, the guide takes a moment to check how the journey has felt. A small hand rests where the pulse is. The check is practical. It asks only what is needed. Now, if a worry is heavy in the mind, imagine setting it on the ground. Make the worry a pebble in your palm. Look at its texture for a breath. Hand it to the guide. The guide takes it kindly. The pebble is not mocked. It is not minimized. It is simply moved so the hands can be free. When the exhale comes, picture the pebble left on a flat stone. The breath has traded a weight for a soft air. Forgiveness and repair live here too, but in modest forms. If a repair is needed with another person, imagine the guide giving the first small gesture a short note. A brief walk. A simple cup of tea. These are not grand reconciliations. They are tiny acts that begin a pattern. For tonight, the small act may only be a prayer or a whispered admission. I am tired. That small truth is enough to start repair in the morning. The shepherd's path is described as a path of rightness. Do not mistake this for a demand of perfection. Rightness here means safe direction. It reduces the chance of stumbling on hidden roots. It leads toward truth in a way that keeps the traveler whole. The guide knows when to slow down and when to pause. That discernment is a kindness. We will try a brief exercise to practice being led. Close your eyes if that is comfortable. If not, soften the gaze. Imagine the guide walking slightly ahead. Keep a small gap between. That gap is trust in motion. Walk in step. When doubts rise, do not try to argue them down. Let them be present like a weather pattern. The guide continues to walk calmly. Allow the body to learn the motion of being accompanied. There is no rush toward answers. Some nights demand no solving. They ask only for steadying. Allow the guidance to be the kind that removes sharpness, not one that offers explanations. The comfort is practical. It makes the next small morning task feel less like a burden and more like a simple continuation of the path. Notice the sound of the water as you rest by it. It is shallow near the bank. It makes a small, constant whisper. The sound is not empty. It is a kind of companion to thought. When the mind repeats the same worry, let the water's whisper be a background tide that drowns the loudness without stifling the truth. The whisper says, "The world continues. You may rest now." This place also allows for gentleness toward yourself. Many nights, a harsh inner voice runs unordered. The shepherd teaches a different habit. When a critical thought arrives, do not argue aggressively. Treat it like a small animal startled in the grass. Speak softly to it. Offer it food if that feels right, a small kindness, an acknowledgement of pain. Then let it go back to the wild. The stern catalogue does not have to run the night. If sleep seems far away, try a small counting practice in the scenery. Count the blades of grass in a patch for one breath. Count the ripples as they pass the bank on another. The numbers are not meant to produce sleep by trickery. They are gentle anchors to keep the mind from spinning. They are small actions that teach attention to shift away from worry. The shepherd's presence is steady, not dramatic. That steadiness is often the most radical help for a weary mind. It accepts the smallness of tonight's victories. It does not demand applause for every tiny courage. When you feel small, let the guide be the larger presence that names you without needing you to rise to the occasion. That naming itself brings ease. Practical mercy feels like permission. Permission to stop performing. Permission to breathe. Permission to allow the chest to be soft. The guide gives permission by example. The example is simple. Come this way. Sit here. Drink. Rest. What a relief it can be to permit oneself to be ordinary for a while. If a decision nags at you, use the scene as a holding place. Place the decision on your knee like a folded paper. Tell the guide the main point in a short phrase. Do not try to argue every angle tonight. Leave the paper there. The guide will walk with it. In the morning, the paper will be easier to read. Tonight's aim is not verdicts. It is trust. I do not ask you to believe anything complex. The invitation is practical. Walk toward still water. Let someone who knows the land lead you. Rest the muscles that carry worry. Allow the mind to find simpler paths. The evening can hold smaller, truer acts than the day often asks for. Before this part closes, take one more breath with the image. Breathe in as you imagine stepping into the shade. Hold for a brief moment. Breathe out and imagine the water touching the toes. Let a small smile find the face. If it wants to, it does not need to be large. A tiny easing counts. I will leave this scene open a little while longer in the quiet between words. Rest there a moment. If sleep comes, let the scene carry you. If sleep does not come yet, return to the path and the water when the thoughts press. The shepherd's hand is steady. The company is simple. The care is enough for now. When the next part begins, another quiet passage will follow. For now, let the feeling of being guided and restored surround you. Let the breath match the step. Let the water cool the tense places. I will stay here with the book and the lamp until the next soft line. I hold the Bible softly in my lap. The room breathes with you. Tonight, I return to a simple invitation that rests like a small chair at the side of the road. Come to me, all who are weary. The sentence is plain. It is an offer, not an obligation. It asks only that you come. I will not rush the meaning. I let the phrase sit, like a quiet beam across the small room of the heart. The promise here is not magic. It is a practical doorway. It leads to rest that repairs. It meets tiredness where it lives. I remember a night years ago. A friend sits beside me after a long hospital wait. The shoulders slump. The eyes hold too much. I do not have words to fix the hours. I simply read that phrase slowly. The voice is low. The words land and do not demand a response. She breathes once, long and shaky. Then again, the shoulders drop a fraction. The tightness in the jaw loosens by a small degree. That small change is a kind of restoration. Rest arrives not as a flood, but as a careful easing. Restoration through rest is not the same as escape. It is not a way of running from tomorrow. It is an act of repair. It is the body and the soul accepting a safe place to reset. Think of a carpenter who lays a fragile piece of wood aside and lets the glue set before lifting it again. Rest does that for us. It lets seams mend silently. I ask you to try a short, guided picture with me. Keep your eyes closed if that feels good. If not, soften the gaze. Breathe with the slow rhythm of evening. Inhale for a gentle count. Exhale with care. Let each breath be a small settling. Picture along. Low hill. It is not dramatic. It is a soft incline with a gentle bench placed near the top. The bench is simple wood, worn smooth by years of sitting. The sky above it holds a cool blue that leans toward dusk. A mild breeze moves over the grass and makes a hush. You walk slowly to the bench. Your steps are easy. The weight in the chest carries less with each step. When you reach the bench, sit down. Feel the give of the wood. Notice how your body meets this place. The muscles that have carried the day are allowed to soften. Place your hands lightly on your knees. Imagine that everything you carry has a small tag tied to it. One by one, consider 3 burdens. Choose the 3 that press heaviest right now. Name them inwardly, but do not try to examine them deeply. The point is not to fix them now. The point is to place them down for a while. Now visualize setting each burden on the ground in front of you. Each one appears as a small stone. You do not throw them away. You simply lay them gently on the earth. For each stone, Say nothing aloud if you prefer. Just imagine handing it over to a presence by your side who accepts without judgment. The presence is quiet and sure. It takes the stones with a steady hand. As the stones leave your hands, notice how the shoulders change. Notice any small relief in the throat. The weight does not vanish entirely. It shifts. Something steadier now holds it. You are not required to carry every weight on your own tonight. The idea of handing over is not about shirking responsibility. It is about allowing repair to begin. When muscles rest, they gather the energy to move again. When the mind rests, it can see options more clearly. The act of setting burdens down makes room for small renewals. This is restoration through rest. I pause here for a breath. Take it with me. Inhale, hold, exhale, and let the tension loosen like a knotted string that unravels slowly. Keep breathing in this slow way. Repeat the handing over if a new worry comes. The ritual is simple and repeatable. That simplicity is its strength. There are practical things to do before sleep that help this restful repair happen. One small practice is to write the burdens on scraps of paper earlier in the evening. Folding them and placing them into a small box or basket at the foot of the bed performs the same symbolic handing over as our imagined stones. It is a bodily act. The hands remember. The system believes the motion. Another practical step is a short breathing pattern timed with gentle movement. Sit or lie in a comfortable place. On the inhale, picture lifting a weight slightly. On the exhale, imagine lowering it again. Move the shoulders with this breath. The gentle motion trains the body to trust letting go. Repetition rewires the instinct to clutch. When sleep does not come, do not punish yourself. The night is patient. Restoration can be slow. The work of the day often seeds worry that takes time to dislodge. The presence beside you is patient too. It does not rush or demand. It waits with you while the breath finds its pace. As I read these invitations, keep the picture of a gentle presence at hand. Imagine the presence as an old friend who sits without needing to talk. They do not offer a checklist. They simply rest near you. Their quiet company is both shelter and balm. Sometimes accompaniment is the most healing intervention. It does not do the repair for you. It becomes the place from which repair begins. There is a small, helpful image for restless minds. Picture a basket by the door labeled tomorrow. For tonight, take only one small thing from the basket if it must be taken. Leave the rest. Most of the things in that basket can wait. The practice of allowing tomorrow to hold its own load is an exercise in mercy for the present self. It is a small discipline that invites peace. Restoration through rest also reaches into forgiveness and gentleness. When the mind replays a hard scene, try placing that scene as an unlit candle on a table. Leave it there. Tell yourself that the candle can remain unlit until morning. You do not need to relight it now. Allow the act of not relighting to be a kind mercy to your own nerves. The mind often relaxes when it is granted permission not to perform. If fear speaks loudly tonight, respond with a steady practice rather than a battle. Place a palm on the chest and breathe for a full cycle. Let each exhale be a soft release. The breath is the tool that brings body and soul into a common rhythm. The slower the breath, the more the nervous system learns that the present moment is not a place of crisis. Community is part of restoration too, if it feels right. Tell one trustworthy person you are practicing rest. You do not need to ask for solutions. Simply share that you are allowing yourself to be still. The mere act of speaking this intention softens the inner critic, other people's permission. Even simple helps the body accept its own. I read these words not to fix problems overnight, but to plant small practices that the body can learn. The Bible does not promise a life without weariness. It offers a different posture in the face of weariness. The posture is come, rest, and let repair begin. The invitation is radical in its gentleness. It seems rest itself becomes the work that heals. When sleep is deep, the brain weaves and mends. Dreams can be a part of repair. Even quiet wakefulness can be restorative if the body is allowed to settle. Honor the night's slow processes by being present in them rather than fighting them. Before this section closes, try one more guided picture. Imagine a small boat moored beside a calm inlet. The boat rocks in a patient rhythm. You step into it and sit down. A guide rows slowly, not to hurry you, but to keep you moving toward the quiet horizon. The boat does not race. The motion is enough to steady the stomach and slow the thoughts. The horizon is gentle. The world's demands appear smaller from that distance. The guide's hand rests lightly at your back, steady and unpressing. Let that boat carry you for a few breaths. With each stroke of the oar, feel the tension in the shoulders lessen. With each passing ripple, imagine a small seam in the heart closing just enough to make the next morning less raw. The voyage is short and safe. It is enough. I will read the verse again. Softly, in my voice, come to me, all who are weary, and find rest. Let the line sit. Do not force it into proof or argument. Let it be an invitation you can accept without performance. Now place your hands where they are comfortable. Let the body sink into the support beneath it. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out long. If sleep comes, let the images guide it gently. If sleep does not come yet, return to the stones and the bench, the basket labeled tomorrow, the small boat on its inlet. These images are tools, not tests. Use them kindly. I am the one who reads the Bible to you before sleep. My voice here seeks to be a companion for the night, not an administrator of demands. I will stay with this quiet thought for a while. Rest is repair. Rest is not idle. It is a healing work you can accept. When I close this part, I leave a short blessing in the hush. May the heavy things find hands to hold them. May the tired places feel gentle repair. May rest come as a slow, renewing friend. Breathe with me one last time. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Let the night do its slow work. I lift the lamp a fraction. The light warms the page. Tonight I rest on a short sentence that steadies the night I trust in unfailing love. And my heart rejoices in the safety that comes. The words sit soft in the room. They are not a demand. They are a hand offered. I do not unpack theology. I let the phrase be a small thing you can hold. Trust is not a test. It is a practice. Unfailing love is not a checklist of proof. It is a steady thing that meets the small moments. The heart can know it in ways that the mind may not always name. Think of love as a constant hearth. It is not flashy. It does not blaze and then go out. It stays. The embers are patient. In the dark hour, they give off a small, steady heat. You do not have to stoke them every minute. The warmth is present for the weary who come close. There are nights when doubt whispers. The mind lists mistakes. The memory replays what was not fixed. On such nights, trust feels thin. It can be tempting to measure love by performance. The verse asks for a different measure. It asks for resting in a love that persists when the list grows and the voice grows quiet. I remember a late evening some years back. A small child slept with heavy breathing on my chest. The rhythm of sleep was uneven. Each exhale was a small relief. At some point, the child shifted and smiled in sleep. The smile was not crafted. It simply came. In that light, I felt a simple assurance settle. Someone was being kept, even as sleep did its work. The thought of that quiet keeping is close to what unfailing love feels like. Joy in salvation is not fireworks. It is a small rising in the chest. It feels like the first clear note of a song in the morning. It is modest and true. It is the relief that a shelter exists. Not because work earned it, but because help chooses to stand guard. The word salvation here is not heavy. It is the word for rescue that arrives, as a neighbor would arrive with a warm cup and a quiet chair. Trust grows by practice, small. Repeated acts teach the body and the mind. Try this simple habit now. Place one hand over the heart. Let the other hand rest on the belly. Breathe slowly. Count in your head to 3 as you breathe in. Count to 4 as you breathe out. With each out-breath, imagine a single, small truth sinking into the chest. You are held. Say it once, softly in the mind. Let the hand feel the warmth beneath it. Repeat twice more. No argument. No need for proof. The body notices the steady rhythm before the mind does. There are images that help. Picture a river that does not run dry. It winds through seasons and still flows. In summer, it cools the lips. In winter, it moves slower, but remains. That river is the image of love that does not abandon. It does not promise your path will be smooth. It promises water along the way. Another image, an anchor dropped in the dark. The sea tosses, but the anchor holds. The ship still rocks. There is still motion. The anchor's work is to keep the vessel from drifting into danger. Unfailing love is like that anchor. It does not erase waves. It prevents being lost to them. Joy opens in small measures. It might arrive as a single, honest laugh after a long day. It might appear as a memory that warms rather than wounds. It might be the sudden recognition that someone cares for you in a way that does not require repayment. Let that recognition be a small lamp in the night. If the mind protests, if it wants evidence and argument, hold the protest gently. Name it reasoning. I hear you. Then return to the body. For reasons of the heart, the body learns differently than the mind. A warm hand on the chest shifts the nervous system. The system begins, slowly, to accept that not everything must be fought through alone. I will suggest 3 small practices that help trust and joy settle into the night. They are simple. They are repeatable. First, a naming of mercy. Think of 3 small things from the day that felt like grace. They do not need to be grand. A brief pause at a red light, a friendly nod from a neighbor, the way a cup warmed when it was held. Name them quietly in order. Place each one like a pebble into an imaginary bowl. Watch the bowl fill. The act of noticing trains the gaze toward the presence that offers kindness. Second, a short memory of rescue. Recall one time when help arrived unexpectedly. Keep the memory small and concrete. Note how the breath changed in that moment. Breathe into that sensation now. Let the memory remind the body that aid can come even without fanfare. The nervous system remembers safety it has felt before. Third, a tiny song. It does not have to be music remembered perfectly. A single phrase or tune that points to comfort will do. Hum it softly to yourself. Let the rhythm slow the heart. Music calls the body into a different place than words alone can reach. A small, repeated tune becomes an anchor in the dark. Unfailing love invites a posture. The posture is open hands. It is not a blank acceptance that ignores harm. It is not naive. It is simply willing to let the heart rest in a presence that does not withdraw at the first sign of weakness. Sometimes the posture is a quiet acceptance that says, I am not the keeper of everything. For now, I will rest. There are nights when the sense of not being lovable is loud. The inner critic argues that love should be earned. When that voice speaks, try a tiny experiment. Imagine placing a child in the center of the room. See that child simply for a moment small, imperfect, alive, without correcting, without demanding. Look at that child with a soft gaze. Let the feeling that arises be an image you aim gently toward yourself, tender, patient. Present. It is permissible to receive the same softness you would give a small one. Joy in salvation also includes quiet celebration. The celebration is not a parade. It is a small nod toward what has been given. Perhaps it is gratitude for a safe bed. Perhaps it is thanks for the soft light in a room. Let the nod be brief. Offer a single whispered line, thank you. The line is not a bargaining chip. It is an acknowledgement that the help that comes is noticed. Trust grows in communities too. Think of a time when someone simply showed up in a practical way. The company of another steady presence strengthens trust in the unseen steadiness. If there is a single person you can name who models gentleness, imagine them near you now. Let that imagined neighbor be a placeholder for the love that does not fail. Sometimes trust is broken. Repair is slow. Do not demand full healing tonight. Repair can begin with a single step. Noticing that the heart wants to hold back. Hold that noticing like a small bird in the palm. Do not try to lecture it. Do not force it into flight. Simply observe. Breathe. And let a quieter presence begin to bring balm. The promise of unfailing love does not make pain vanish. Pine still courses. It still teaches. What changes is the context. Pain is no longer the lone judge of worth. It sits beside a steady presence that will not abandon the mourner. In that altered room, the mourner can take a breath that is not all a defense. If guilt or shame intrudes, offer a soft correction. Name the feeling without rehearsing the sin. Put it into a small box in the imagery of the night, and slide the box toward a lamp. The lamp warms the box, but does not incinerate it. The action is neither denial nor justification. It is a practical move that allows the nervous system to accept that failing will not be the eternal voice in the ear. Joy in salvation also looks ahead with simple hope. It is not a promise of immediate rescue that fixes every difficulty. It is a quiet confidence that a good future exists. Picture a thin line of dawn at the edge of the horizon. It is not light yet. It is the suggestion of light. The suggestion is enough to steady a footstep toward morning. I will share a small memory to hold. Once, walking at dawn, the world smelled of wet earth and a quiet rain. A neighbor walked by with a dog. We exchanged nothing more than a soft nod. But the small moment of being acknowledged in the world, in morning, felt like a tiny proof that kindness persisted. The memory is unremarkable in narration, but powerful in feel. Keep such small proofs as private treasures. They are portable lamps. Encourage a bedtime ritual that keeps this theme present. Before sleep, name one thing that felt like an act of love today. It can be as modest as a steady heartbeat or a cup that kept your hands warm. Say nothing more. Let the naming be the whole ritual. Owatim, the habit, rewires the mind to notice sustaining kindnesses. If despair seems near, do not fight it alone. A steady presence can be asked for, quietly and without demand, however that looks for each person. Asking often takes the form of a small admission. This is heavy. The admission opens the door for help. It does not require an immediate solution. It simply allows the heart to be seen. There is a posture of surrender that is practical. It involves small acts. Lay one hand on the bedside table and let the other rest on the chest. Breathe slowly. Imagine placing the heavy thought you cannot fix into the hand on the table. See it there, like a small stone. Tell the mind that it can wait until morning. Do not force forgetfulness. Accept postponement. The night can hold what it has to hold while you sleep. Salvation brings a type of joy that returns to ordinary things. A harmless cup of tea, a blank page, a steady lamp. These things can carry the language of being saved. They insist that rescue is not always spectacular. It is often humble and near. I will not close without an image to cradle the thought. Picture a garden at night. The moon is shy. A soft wind moves through the leaves. A single lily folds gently. The gardener does not sweep all leaves away at once. The gardener moves carefully, tending, not demanding. That gentle tending is like love that does not fail. It watches, mends, and returns. Now breathe with me. Breathe in. Count 1, 2. Exhale slowly. Count 1, 2. 3. Picture the hand on your chest. Let the warmth settle deeper. Repeat inwardly a single short phrase that the night can hold. I am held. Let the phrase be a small song that the body knows to follow. If sleep comes, let these images ferry you. If it does not, return to the exercises. Name small mercies. Remember a time when help arrived unexpectedly. Hum a simple tune. Return the heavy thought to the bedside table and leave it there. The night can be trusted with what you cannot yet resolve. I close the Bible with careful hands. The lamp throws a circle of light. The room stays quiet. My voice eases to a hush. I do not demand a conclusion. I only place a gentle assurance into the night unfailing. Love keeps watch. Joy in that keeping can be small and real. Sleep when you can. Rest is given, not earned. I stay a little while in the hush. The book breathes near the lamp. If you are ready, let your eyelids fall. If you are not, stay with the hand on your chest and the slow counting. Either way, the lamp stays. The love that does not fail remains. The lamp stays low. The book lies open. I settle into the same slow rhythm. Tonight I rest on a short, bright line from Proverbs 1:7-2. A cheerful heart is good medicine. I say it gently. The phrase is small and simple. It lands like a warm breath. I do not mean that pain is imaginary. I do not suggest a forced smile will erase what is true. Cheerfulness here is not denial. It is healing that creeps in through small cracks. It is a quiet warming that loosens the tight places. Think of the body as weathered wood. When damp and cold, it splinters. When warmed and dried, it becomes usable again. Joy can act like that gentle heat. It does not make problems vanish. It allows the muscles to relax. It makes the chest a little more room for breath. I remember a night when light felt thin. There had been a long season of worry. The room seemed crowded with long lists and running fears. The head was full. The heart felt heavy in the way that presses on the ribs. I sat with a friend who knew this tiredness well. She did not offer lists of answers. She did not counsel rescue plans. She simply began to laugh, not loudly, not showily, but the kind of laugh that finds a small surprise in the middle of an ordinary sentence. Her laughter was soft at first. It came from somewhere simple, a memory of a cat that had toppled a plant years ago. A tiny misstep that had once seemed ridiculous. The sound unknotted something under the sternum. It was not mechanical. It was honest and small. The chest I sat with loosened. Breath came a bit fuller. The tight band around the throat eased. Laughter of that sort is like a small lamp turned on beside a bed. It does not flood the room. It simply changes the shade of things. Where there had been a single, sharp edge of fear, a softy line appears. That is what the proverb names as medicine. It is not a prescription that erases illness. It is care that helps the body do its own work. I ask you to remember one small laugh if one rises. Think of someone who once made you smile in a way that felt clean and quick. Hold that memory without demanding more. Let it come like a small bell. Let the sound live for a breath in the chest. Notice how the shoulders soften a little. The jaw releases. The muscles around the eyes unknit. Do this now with me. Quietly. Breathe in for 2 counts. Breathe out for 3. On the next in-breath, imagine that small laugh. Do not force it into a show. Let it be a memory. A light given back to you. On the out-breath, feel the chest ease. Keep the rhythm slow. The motion trains the nervous system to accept gentleness. There are nights when cheer feels wrong. Guilt can object. The inner critic may say that joy is inappropriate in the face of loss or trouble. I do not ask anyone to pretend otherwise. Instead, consider a different posture that mercy allows light to return even when wounds remain. A healed wound does not forget the cut. It simply is no longer defined only by it. Joy can be that quiet thread that reweaves the cloth where it was torn. Small practices help the habit of cheerfulness grow without pressure. A pocket list is one. Keep 3 small things from the day that brought any light at all. They do not need to be grand. A warm drink, a song on a radio, a neighbor holding a door. Write them on scraps of paper, fold them, and place them in a jar. Over time, the jar becomes a witness to the small mercies that arrived even in hard seasons. On nights when laughter feels remote, open the jar and read 1 folded line. Let the memory of that small mercy be enough to change the tone of a single breath. Another gentle practice is the face ritual. Smile once in private. Do it slowly. Let the muscles move without forcing the mind to believe the story that caused the sadness. The body remembers. A soft smile can send a message to the heart that a place exists for ease. The smile does not pretend to fix. It simply invites the face and the nervous system to try a different posture. There is also a practice of small sounds. Hum, a single simple tune. Keep it quiet. Let the hum find the throat and chest. Sound vibrates the bones. It reaches places stillness sometimes cannot. A short, repeated sound trains the body to expect rhythm and gentleness. It is a mild medicine. Cheerfulness heals in company. A shared chuckle with a friend is not frivolous. It is a small joining of hearts that says we are not alone in the heaviness. If a friend is near tonight, remember that laughter is contagious in a good way. It passes from one person to another, not as pressure, but as permission. If someone has been a light for you before, picture their face for a moment. Let the image warm the chest. When joy arrives in the presence of others, it does not erase accountability. Hard work and necessary sorrow remain. The medicine is not substitution for repair. It is the strength that helps repair begin. When the heart finds moments of levity, the will gains energy to do what must be done tomorrow. Rest becomes more likely. Decisions feel less like fights and more like steps. It helps to name joy without explanation. A short phrase can be used like a pebble to toss into the mind's pond. Say, in a soft thought, "This felt good." That is all. No need to argue why. Make the statement brief. Let the mind linger there for a breath. The habit of naming pleasant things without requirement reduces the tyranny of constant problem-solving. Cheerfulness also softens the body's defenses. The muscles around the neck and shoulders unclench. The breath deepens, Sleep becomes easier when the body has had even small moments of ease. The science of it does not matter here. The experience is what matters. A heart that is allowed to lighten a little has more space to accept mercy. I will tell another small, true story. A friend once visited, after a hard year. She carried a folded paper with doodles on it. They were absurd. Small drawings, a dog wearing a crown, a sun with a moustache, an improbable bird with slippers. She did not try to explain them as deep theology or great art. She handed me the paper and asked me to pick one doodle. Choosing felt childish and safe. We laughed in a careful way. The laughter was not loud. It was steady and small, like a string of soft lights. A few minutes later, both of us were breathing more simply. The box of worry that sat on the table felt slightly lighter. The doodles were medicine. There are nights when memories resist. The mind holds onto a harsh image and will not release it. In those hours, try a small reversal picture, an ordinary, silly scene. A man slipping on an orange peel. A cat trying to fit into a too small box. Let the absurdity be enough to dislodge the sharpness. The lighter image need not erase the serious one. It simply offers another color to the mental painting. Over time, the balance shifts. Allow a small permission to yourself now. If a silly memory comes, let it stay for a breath. If a sound that once made you smile finds a way into the room, do not shut it down, as if it were disrespectful to the trouble at hand. The presence of tenderness and laughter does not betray sorrow. It is a companion to it. Sorrow and joy can sit at the same table. If the heart resists, laughter because of fear that levity will cheapen suffering, try a quiet reframing. See cheerfulness as a form of courage. It takes courage to let one small light into a room that feels mostly dark. The act of smiling in private is an act of defiance against despair. It does not deny the truth of suffering. It claims the right to a breath of rest. There are practical ways to cultivate joy in the small hours. Keep one small book of light readings near the bedside. Read a single short piece, a line or a paragraph that once warmed you. Let the cadence of the sentence touch the chest. Keep a small photograph that brings a soft smile, an image of a place that felt safe, a person whose presence was steady. These objects are not distracting. They are anchors. When the night presses and laughter still feels distant, try a soft physical practice. Stretch the arms overhead slowly. Let the shoulders roll. Open the chest like a window. With each movement, imagine air entering a place that has been closed. No forcing, no judgment. Gentle motion prepares the body to receive small mercies. I also recommend a bedtime ritual of gratitude, pebbles. Keep 3 small stones on a plate by the lamp. Each night, choose one stone and whisper a single small gratitude into the air. It can be as simple as warm tea or a kind word. The habit rewires attention slowly, over weeks. The collection of grateful moments begins to act like a soft scaffold for joy. Cheerfulness is not always spontaneous. It can be practiced. The practice does not demand performance. It asks only for small acts repeated with gentleness. A single soft laugh, a brief smile in the dark, a remembered absurdity. These are stitches that slowly mend the skin of the heart. Listen to the room. The air is steady outside. The night moves through its own season. The hush is an example of time used well. The world slows, and so do we. Let the slowness be permission. You are not required to be in motion to be useful. You are allowed to be present in rest and still be living on purpose. There is a second thought I bring tonight. It is a short promise. I know the plans I have for you. Plans to give you hope and a future. I read it quietly. The voice is calm. The sentence is not a blueprint. It is an assurance that the arc of a life is not random chaos. There is intention that includes hope. This promise asks for trust. Trust is not a one-time leap. It is a small, steady leaning. Think of trust as placing a hand on a steady rail as you walk in the dark. The rail does not answer every question. It simply keeps you from falling. Over time, leaning becomes easier. The body learns that the support is real. I speak of plans as something wider than immediate tasks. The plan covers days you cannot see. It does not eliminate hard things. It promises that hard things do not finally have the last word. That promise steadies the heart enough to rest. If the mind wants evidence, look for small proofs. A friend who arrived, food when needed, a moment when the chest unclenched. These are not grand revelations. They are enough to teach the system that help appears. Try another quiet practice. Picture a map spread on a table. The map is simple and worn. Mark one place you are worried about. Then mark one safe harbor nearby. It may be small, a supportive neighbor, a simple routine, a place where you breathe easier. The plan does not remove the storms on the map. It makes a harbor visible. Place a small coin on that harbor. Let the coin represent trust. Keep that image in the mind for a breath or two. Trust in plan also invites patience toward timing. If a year feels long, that is not proof of absence. The patient gardener knows that some seeds sleep for 2 seasons. The gardener waits with tools at hand. When the soil warms, sprouts appear. Healing and growth sometimes follow hidden work that is not visible daily. Let that fact loosen the grip of urgency. I remind you, gently resting is an act of faith. It is a practical move. When you decide to rest, you practice belief that enough will be given. You do not step away from responsibility. You step into replenishment. The hands that are rested do the work better the next day. The decision to sleep, to breathe slowly, to let go for a time, is part of good stewardship. If doubt arises, attend to it kindly. Doubt is often a signal that more tenderness is needed. Name it softly, doubt. Breathe into it, as into any ache. Place it on the table of the map. Let it be seen, without letting it run the night. That small act of recognition reduces its power. The nervous system responds when the mind stops arguing and starts tending. I will offer 2 small rituals to carry these thoughts into the night. First, a season box. Keep a small container by the bedside. When a worry or a plan presses hard, write a single line and put it into the box. Label the box with the season you need. Waiting. Repairing. Preparing. Resting. Close the lid. The act of placing the thought into a season trains the hands and the brain to accept that certain things do not need to be solved before sleep. They can be sorted later when the right time comes. Second, a future note. Once a week, write a short, honest note to tomorrow, one hope, one small task, one prayer. Fold it and place it where you can see it in the morning. The note is not a contract that binds fate. It is a gentle promise to yourself that the day ahead has a place and that you will meet it with clearer energy after rest. The practice builds a bridge between trust and action. I tell a quiet memory now. There is a season that lasted longer than expected, a slow recovery, a long pause in work. Each morning, I worried that the pause was a failure. Each evening, I learned to stand a little gentler. Over months, the small rituals of rest-warm tea in the late afternoon, a slow walk, times of quiet reading, mended what stress had worn thin. Nothing dramatic happened all at once. The slow accretion of rest restored capacity. That is the kind of plan that cares for the long game. Do not mistake passivity for trust. Trust includes wise steps. It includes asking for help. It includes tending to needs with practical hand. The plan I read about does not remove reasoned effort. It joins effort with patience. It asks that the heart not be both the sole judge and the sole doer. Let others hold parts of the load when they can. Let practical steps be taken during waking hours. Let the night be for repair. There will be nights when the season feels wrong, when the timing seems cruel, when healing is slow and pain is present. In those nights, the promise still holds in the smallest ways, a breath that deepens, a memory that softens, a hand that rests on the chest. Each small easing is a proof of intention. They do not erase sorrow. They show that something watches the long process. As I close this part, breathe with me. Inhale slowly. Picture the clock of seasons turning without haste. Place one burden into its proper season for tonight. Breathe out and imagine a small map with a visible harbor. Put one coin of trust on that harbor. Feel the weight shift slightly. The body notices the change even before the mind does. I lay the Bible down gently. The lamp circles the page. The room keeps a steady hush. My voice lowers to a soft wish, may the right season find you. May healing come in time. May the plan that holds more than you see guide your steps. Rest now. Let the night do the slow, careful work it is meant to do. When morning comes, we will look again at small tasks with clearer hands. For now, let the rhythm of seasons and the assurance of a faithful plan keep watch while sleep does its work. I notice the lamp's circle and the page beneath my hand. The night is thin and patient. I have been with you through images of shelter, mercy, and quiet repair. Now I stay with a thought that presses gently into the future. There is a plan that holds hope. The idea is simple. It asks for a small kind of trust, not a dramatic leap. I speak slowly. The sentences are short on purpose. I do not ask for answers. I ask only for a soft resting of thought. Imagine a road that bends out of sight. You cannot see the whole route. You can see the next few steps. You can feel the ground. Some mornings are bright. Some nights are dim. The promise we hold is that the road is not aimless. There is intention behind it. That intention includes hope and a future. Hope, in this gentle telling, is not an abstract cheerfulness. It is practical. It looks like a hand steadying a pack. It looks like a neighbor leaving a bowl of food on a porch. It looks like small things that keep the body and spirit able for the next day. When hope arrives, the immediate present loosens its tightness. The chest finds room to breathe. I do not offer a map of exact outcomes. I cannot promise what tomorrow will bring. I can, however, point to patterns that have helped many rest over time. People who practice trust do not do so because they have solved every question. They practice because they have found a rhythm that steadies the nervous system. Trust is a habit as much as a belief. It is built by small repeated acts. Tonight, try a short practice with me. Keep the eyes closed if that feels right. If not, rest the gaze on the lamp's pool. Breathe in a calm, even way. Count to 3. Hold a breath for a heartbeat. Breathe out longer than you breathe in. On the next inhale, imagine a small bundle of light appearing in front of you. It is not bright. It is steady. Into that bundle, place one uncertainty. Make it concrete: a bill, a call, a meeting, an ache. Give it one short name in your mind. Do not list detail. One small label will do. Now picture that bundle being lifted by a pair of steady hands. The hands are caring, not judging. They take the bundle. They do not toss it away. They simply hold it. Feel the release in the shoulders as the weight leaves the arms. Notice the ease that follows in the jaw. Breathe out and let the body accept the change. This is not magic. It is a practical exercise that trains the nervous system to accept that not all burdens must be carried alone tonight. I will give another small practice to help this become a nightly habit. Before sleep, write one worry on a scrap of paper. Fold it twice. Place it at the bedside. In the morning, open the paper and address it with clearer energy. The act of setting the worry down at night is a physical way of handing something over. The hands remember the motion better than the argument in the head. Trust grows in small measures. It grows by noticing one small proof. Was there one kindness today? A cup that warmed your hands. A door held open for you. A message that arrived at just the right hour. Keep these small proofs in mind. They are like stones on a path. Together, they form a way forward. Now I move, slowly, to another image that has shaped many quiet evenings. It is a scene from a story you may know. A small boat is on a wide lake. The sky is low. A storm comes up. Winds press on the little craft. The waves fold over the sides and drum a steady rhythm against the hull. The passengers are afraid. They feel tossed by forces larger than their skill. In the midst of the turmoil, there is a presence. He is not frantic. He is not panicked. He rests with a calm that is not distant. Then he acts. He speaks with a command that steadies the air and quiets the water. The wind loses its rage. The lake sits like glass for a beat. The people in the boat feel the change. Fear gives way to wonder. The presence's action is not only about controlling nature. It is about creating an immediate room in which trust can be learned. I do not offer the original words. I offer the effect. Notice how the storm changes at a touch. The movement from chaos to calm is fast and also trustworthy. The lesson is not that storms never come again. The lesson is that a steadier presence meets us in the wild weather and makes space for peace. That steadiness becomes a practice to return to. Imagine yourself in that boat for a moment. The oar is heavy. The spray stings the face. Your hands are raw. The voice of fear lines the mind. Now imagine the presence moving among you. There is no scolding. There is a kind touch and a steadying word. The sea calms. You are not asked to be brave. You are simply invited to notice that someone steadies the boat. This story has a practical edge for the night. The storms that arrive in sleep are often not only literal weather. They are the sudden rise of memory. They are the rush of panic that arrives when the lights go out. They are the looping worries that meet you when the world is quiet and your thoughts feel larger than they often do by day. Remember the boat and the calm that follows. Let that image be a shelter to return to. Try a breath practice that goes with the boat image. Breathe in with 2 soft counts as you imagine the oar lifting. Breathe out on 4 counts as you imagine the hand that steadies the craft doing its work. Each out-breath lengthens the body's acceptance of calm. Repeat this cycle 5 times. Do it without pressure. Do it as if learning a quiet song. I ask you also to place one uncertainty in those steady hands before sleep. Name it once and then picture letting it go. If the mind resists and returns the worry like a boomerang, place a gentle reminder in the room, the scrap of paper at the bedside, the folded note, the small coin you set down. These are physical anchors. When the head chases the worry, touch the anchor. Let the hand remember the motion of giving things over. Trust is not a one-night achievement. It is a training. The calm that follows the storm in the story is a model. The first time the sea quiets, wonder is strong. The 10th time, the quiet becomes a habit. The nervous system learns that storms may come, and that something steadier can answer them without panicking. This repeated experience shapes the body's ability to sleep. I do not want to understate the realness of fear. It is not a fault. It is an honest signal that asks for care. The presence in the boat does not scorn the fear. It meets it and tends it. In practice, this may look like a small prayer said in the dark. It may look like a whispered admission to a trusted friend. It may look like a call for help. All these forms are ways of giving weight away from the chest and onto hands that can hold it. Let me offer another small ritual for the bedside. Take a deep breath and imagine a gentle phrase in your own language, a single line that says that you are not alone in this night. Keep it short. Repeat it silently 3 times as you lay your folded paper down. Then rest the hands and let the breath normalize. The ritual is simple. The repetition teaches the system that handing over is permitted. In the quiet that follows, it helps to picture small proofs of care. The boat's calm is proof. The neighbor who once arrived with bread is proof. The time when a stranger's kind word shifted the weight is proof. Keep these in the mind like small lanterns. When a new worry appears, look for one lantern and let its light be enough for one step. I remain careful not to bind trust to tidy theology. The aim is not debate. The aim is mercy. The aim is assurance that when the night brings a storm, a steady care meets it and creates room for rest. That care encourages the work of sleep and repair. Now, before we close this part, practice once more the handing over. Place the hands together lightly on the lap. Breathe in 3 soft counts. Let the in-breath gather a single worry. Hold it for the briefest moment. Breathe out on 5 counts and imagine the worry moving into a pair of caring hands. Feel the shoulders ease. Notice the jaw unclench. Let the breath slow further. If sleep comes with the practice, let it carry you gently. If sleep does not come at once, do not bargain with the night. Return to the image of the boat, the calm sea, the steady hands. Return to the scrap of paper at the bedside. Repeat the short ritual when the mind draws the worry back into the chest. The practice is patient. It grows in time. I will say a brief wish now, not as a script to be argued, but as a quiet breath to carry. May the plans that hold hope watch over the next step. May the hands that steady the storm hold what you cannot hold tonight. May sleep come as a small repair and a gentle teacher. I close the book gently and let the lamp's glow rest on the page. I stay with the hush for a small while. If your eyes fall, let them fall without hurry. If they keep watch, let the image of the boat and the steady hands be a place to return to again and again. I will come back in the next part with another quiet thought. For now, place one small uncertainty in caring hands and let the night do its patient work. The lamp is low. I hold the Bible in my lap and breathe with you. Tonight I linger on an image that has steadied many nights. It is the image of a storm and of calm that arrives in a hand. It is not a lesson. It is a comfort. It is meant to quiet the restless parts of the mind. There is a kind of storm that lives inside a chest. Thoughts roll like wind. Memories lash like rain. The pulse runs fast. The room seems smaller. The mind replays scenes and fears like waves hitting a shore. This is real. It is honest. It also does not have to be the last word of the night. I speak slowly now. My words are simple. They invite a small imagining. Note adibate. See a small boat in a wide, dark. Feel the rocking. Sense the spray. Now imagine a presence stepping close. The presence does not criticize. It reaches without demand. A hand rests on the boat's side. The motion is quiet. The water begins to change. This image is practical. It asks nothing of cleverness. It asks only that attention shift. The mind that is used to running can learn to pause. The body that is used to clenching can learn to loosen. The presence in this scene brings a different rhythm. I invite a short practice. Keep your eyes soft or closed. Place one hand lightly on the chest. Breathe in slowly for a count that feels natural. Breathe out long and even. Imagine the inhale drawing in the air of the room. Imagine the exhale pushing the storm's edge back a fraction. Breathe 3 times like this. Do not force anything. Allow the breath to be honest and steady. Now name, quietly in the mind, 3 things that trouble you tonight. Keep them small. 1 worry, 1 regret, 1 fear. Make each one a single short phrase. Say each phrase inwardly, and then imagine putting it into your palm. See the thoughts as small stones. They are heavy for a moment. That is okay. Hold them for the length of a single breath. After holding them, imagine handing those stones to the steady presence at the boat's side. Picture that hand taking them without flinching. Feel the shoulders relax a bit as the hands let go. The motion does not solve everything. It does not make the sea vanish. It changes where the weight sits. If it helps, picture a small cloak being laid over the shoulders where the stones once were. The cloak is warm. It is not heavy in the way a burden is. It is warm, like a neighbor's shawl put over a tired child. The cloak does not erase memory. It holds the memory in a gentler place. I am careful to say that calm may not come all at once. Sometimes the water smooths immediately. Sometimes it takes a slow minute. Sometimes the waves return. The difference now is that someone steadier is holding the boat with you. That steadiness makes a practice possible. The practice changes how the nervous system learns to respond. I guide another gentle exercise. Imagine a simple phrase you can breathe with. Make it 2 or 3 words. Keep it neutral and kind. Use it like a buoy. Breathe in. And on the out-breath, think the phrase once. Let the phrase be a soft anchor. Do this 6 times. The sound in the head is short. The body hears lengthening in the exhale. That lengthening is medicine. Some nights the storm comes with sharp images. At such times, try a small movement of hands. Place both palms. Warm them together. Then rest them over the eyes for a moment. The darkness is gentle. The pressure is measured. When you take the hands away, keep one palm on the chest. The touch is a reminder that the body is allowed to be tended. I do not insist on faith as a test. I invite presence. If the name of Jesus is a source of calm for you, imagine him near the boat. Picture his hand on the hull. Picture his voice quieter than the wind. Picture a look that does not demand explanation. This is not theology. It is an image of presence that can steady thought. If another image of care helps you more, use that. The aim is the same, to feel steadied. There is a small story I carry with me. I do not tell it as proof. I tell it as witness. Once, in a night of sharp worry, I sat very still and imagined hands taking my stones. The first breath after that practice felt different. It was not restful at once. It was less jagged. The breath widened by a small measure. That small measure mattered. Repair often starts in small measures. Calming also has a practical edge. If the chest is tight, try a tiny ritual before bed. Set a small cup of water on the bedside table. Turn down the lamp by 1 click. Fold a scrap of paper and write 1 worry on it. Fold it again. Place it under the cup. The act of making the worry physical and then setting it down trains the hands to do a work the head cannot do alone. It tells the body that action has been taken. The brain accepts that and often relaxes. If tears come, let them. The storm sometimes releases moisture. That is part of cleansing. Do not rush the tears away with shame. Let them pass as water does. When they pass, imagine the steady hand drying the face with a cloth. Patient and tender, the action is gentle care, not a rush to fix. I repeat a practice that has helped many each time the mind cycles into a knotty worry. Touch the counterpoint of the present. Notice the feel of the blanket. Notice the sound from the street beyond. Name a single safe thing aloud if it helps. The practice is not grand. It is a reorientation. The storm still exists. The present ground becomes less slippery. Sleep often arrives when the body trusts safety. Safety is not absence of wind. It is the knowledge that the boat will not roll beyond rescue. Build small proofs of safety. Keep a lamp on low. Keep a glass of water by the bed. Keep a small token that reminds you of steady hands. Each proof is a quiet promise that can be called to mind when thoughts run. If worry feels like work that must be done now, make a small plan instead of a full campaign. Take one tiny step that can be done in the morning. Write it on a single line. Fold it and place it on the bedside table. The single-step plan is like a lifeline. It lets the mind postpone exhaustive problem-solving until the body is rested. I also recommend a soft repetition of gratitude. It does not ignore the storm. It simply remembers that not all is storm. Name 3 small things that were kind or true today. They can be tiny. A cup that warmed hands. A brief smile at a corner store. The sound of a bird at dusk. Place those 3 things in the mind like pebbles in a bowl. Their presence balances the weight. When the mind insists that calm is naive, meet it with patience. Say nothing to argue. Imagine the critical voice as another traveler on the boat. It is allowed to speak. Offer it a chair and a cup. Do not feed it with counter-accusation. Let it be heard, and then ask it to rest while the boat moves. This is a practice of mercy toward the self. The hands that steady storms are often patient. They do small, steady acts. They make tea. They close a window. They put a hand on a forehead. These are not flashy. They are real and kind. If you can do one small care for yourself tonight, do it. Bring a blanket that is soft. Set a warm cup within reach. Choose a tune that soothes and let it play very quietly. I stay with the image a little longer. The presence we invite does not rob us of agency. It meets us and also sends us back into life with steadier hands. Calm becomes a habit when these small motions repeat. The breath grows longer. The chest softens. The mind learns new roots. Before I close this part, I offer a short guided visualization to carry into sleep. Breathe in slowly and imagine the wind easing. Breathe out and picture the waves flattening a little. Breathe in and sense a warm, steady hand taking one stone from your palm. Breathe out and imagine the hand placing the stone gently on the shore. Repeat 3 times. Let the hands and breath do their simple work. Now I speak a gentle blessing over the room. Listen with your hands on your chest. if that helps. May mercy meet the weary parts. May tenderness fall like soft rain across the strained places. May peace, like a quiet watchman, stand at the corners of the mind. May the word you have heard tonight sit like a small lamp at the bedside of your soul. I do not promise an easy morning in words of grandeur. I promise a presence that does not abandon. That presence keeps steady in the rough weather. It does not erase sorrow. It keeps company with sorrow. That company is often the most practical help. I ask you now to imagine that presence placing a cloak around your shoulders. The cloak is simple. It is warm. It does not demand performance. It simply covers. Feel it light on the skin. Let the shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let the breath lengthen. Breathe with me once more. Inhale slowly and fully. Hold for a small beat. Breathe out long. Picture the breath carrying away a small piece of worry. Repeat once more. This second breath is a small sacrament of letting go. It is a practice that repeats itself like a lullaby. I will close the Bible slowly. The pages make a soft sound. The lamp keeps its glow. I sit with the hush a moment longer. The night wraps itself around the house like a quiet shawl. The world outside speaks in muted tones. Here the breath is the music. Before the lamp is lowered, place one final small intention for the morning. It need not be grand. A single line will do one small step for care. Write it in the mind or on a scrap of paper. Let it be enough. A tiny promise to yourself builds a path. The body keeps the habit. You have been invited here to rest. You have come with all that you are. Nothing is required beyond presence. The lamp will stay a little while, but you can trust the room now. Sleep comes on its own timetable. Mercy keeps a chair for the waking and the sleeping alike. I rise from the seat in the softest way. I do not hurry. I fold the page with care and slide a marker where the reading will begin tomorrow. If you wish to return, my voice lowers to a near whisper only for the last few lines. Remember that you are not alone in the small hours. A steady presence walks with you. The word you have heard is a neighbor at the door. It does not demand proof. It keeps its lamp lit. Rest under its light. Let grace fold around you like a blanket. Let the quiet of the night do its slow repair. Sleep when you can. If sleep comes now, let it come. If it waits, let this hush hold you till it does. The lamp will be here in spirit. The word will remain a soft witness. The steady presence is nearer than you may feel. I place my hand over my heart as a final sign. I breathe in gently. I breathe out slow. I leave you with a last soft wish. May God's nearness be felt as a warm hand tonight. May grace cover the things you cannot fix. May the word you have heard fortify your rest. And may morning bring a quiet joy to meet you. Good night.